so today we're going to work on some exercises that use the straps primarily. So we're going to start with just warming up and universal settings. So gear bar 2, stopper 2, 2 red springs should be good. And we're going to start laying on our backs, headrest down, no straps for the moment. So once you lay down on your back, you can put your heels on the bar, just wiggle a little bit side to side, make sure you end up in the center. You can use your hands at the side of the carriage to make sure you're in the middle. Heels on the bar, and just press the carriage out to straight legs. I know these aren't your settings. Anita, I don't know if you know this, but I can't see you. Oh, no, I can. Okay. And then come all the way back in. And I just want you to pulse in the mid-range. So about halfway out and all the way in. It's not heavy. It's only 2 springs. So mostly just kind of feeling this little bounce through the legs. Push, pull, push, pull. And then press the legs all the way out to straight, bend the knees and come back in. Round the pelvis under and roll your hips up. You aren't on your footwork setting, so if the carriage needs to be a little bit away from the stopper, that's okay. And then roll back down to your spine, all the way back down, and return back to your neutral position and do that again. Roll your hips up. Once you get at the top this time, press the carriage out, lower your pelvis towards the carriage. Bend your knees, pull the carriage back in, and roll back down. If you can get it all the way into the stopper, that'd be excellent. So if you can keep it against the stopper while you roll up, press out, lift to come back in, and then roll back down through your spine. Just do this twice more, just getting some of our bigger muscles turned on here and working for us, and articulating through the spine. Roll up, press out, pull back in, and roll back down. We're going to come back to that later. So you're going to imprint and lift one leg up to tabletop and then the other, and then separate your legs and cross your ankles over each other. And from here, deepen your imprint and do your rollover prep. So you're scooping your abs and trying to think of lifting the base of your pelvis away from the carriage. Because as women, our pelvis is where our center of gravity, our center of mass is. It may not be possible for you to lift your pelvis up without doing some sort of big kick. So as long as you feel your abdominals working, then you're doing exactly what I want. It doesn't literally have to lift the pelvis. Kind of depends on your proportions. Switch which ankle is crossed on top. So we're going to be doing some inverted exercises today. And this is always something you can come back to if it feels like it's a little too much. But I'll layer all the exercises so that it works for lots of different folks. And one more time, bring your legs back to parallel. You're going to extend your legs out on a diagonal over the foot bar as low as you can. Then bend your knees into tabletop and do a little bit of a curl. Come back to tabletop, reach out on the diagonal. So you bend in towards tabletop, you extend your knees a little bit to help you curl up off of the carriage and reach back out. So we're adding leverage here. We're making the lever a little longer to help us. And bend in, little curl of the pelvis off and reach back out on the diagonal. 2 more like this, little curl. And last one. And reach out on the diagonal. Set your feet down on the foot bar. Grab the straps off the shoulder rests or wherever they are and put them on your feet. So once you have the straps on your feet, like with our footwork, we're going to try to get things moving kind of more continuously. So bend in as far as you can, press out, lift, and lower. So you're alternating between bend and stretch and lift and lower. And I'm going to encourage you into a big range of motion today. Of course, ideally your sacrum, your pelvis would stay down the whole time, but I want you to flex your legs in as much as you can. Press out, let your legs lift up as much as you can, and then keep it moving continuously. Nice and smooth. Trying to open up through the backs of the legs. Do the same thing you're doing, but take your legs about hips width apart and keep the legs controlled so they're not pushing against each other. So each of them have to work a little bit harder to maintain the control and not kind of be wiggly. Bending in, pressing out, lift and lower. As you reach your feet up towards the ceiling with straight legs, think of keeping the back of your pelvis down as much as you can, but it has to be kind of a dance between it being perfectly down and you being able to feel length through the back of the legs. So kind of working in that gray area. One more time. Press the legs down on the diagonal and go into some big parallel leg circles. The legs will open about as wide as the reformer. So you're staying parallel. The kneecaps are facing the wall behind you. And one more. Reverse the direction. So 4, press down and around. 3, down and around. Reaching through the legs, keeping connected through the torso. Last one. Press the legs out on the diagonal. Rotate your legs turned out. So heels together, toes apart. You're gonna open your legs into a big V out to the side and then press your heels back towards each other over the foot bar. So open up wide, press back towards the heels, towards each other. Keep your legs straight. Yes. So kind of depends on your turnout, but you're going towards your knees, towards your heels. The more turnout you have, the wider the V will be. Sometimes I have you do this in a really controlled way. Today I want you, of course, to have some control, but I want you to go as big, as wide as possible. Two more. Then once you open up wide, bend your legs, bring your heels together and push back out to the V or the diagonal out over the foot bar. Open up to the big wide V, heels come together, then the carriage moves as you press out. Big wide V. Again, a modified version of our frog. It's not the normal frog that I always teach you. It's a little bit different, a little wider. Should feel like lots of back of the legs, inner thighs working. Nice. Heels come together, you press out. Open up wide, heels come together, press over the foot bar. 3 more. And then once you get your legs back down on the diagonal, keep your legs turned out and go into big leg circles, biggest range you can make. You're turned out, so it should be able to go a lot wider than the reformer. And 1 more in this direction, and 4 in the other direction. And then we're gonna make sure your headrest is down. We're gonna go into short spine. So what we did earlier where you're curling your pelvis off the ground, that's the beginning of short spine. So reach your legs out over the foot bar, rotate the legs to parallel, bring your legs up towards the ceiling, start that curl, bring the carriage all the way in and push your feet up towards the ceiling. Rotate your legs turned out, pull your heels towards your tail, roll down away from your heels, pull the back of the legs in, you get your whole pelvis back down, and then you press out on the diagonal. Rotate to parallel, Hinge at the hips. Use that curl of the pelvis to come up. Carriage comes all the way in if it can. Rotate, turn out, pull the heels towards the tail, roll down away from the heels, bend the knees and push back out over the diagonal. I want to watch a couple. And curl the pelvis. Don't let the pelvis hang down for too long. Yeah, that looks awesome, Carrie. Woohoo. And pull the heels towards the tail and then roll away from the heels. You're lengthening the back of the legs. Pull in and press back out. Think of touching your toes to the ceiling as you curl up. Lift your toes up into the ceiling, into the ceiling, into the ceiling. Yeah, even better. Rotate, turned out, pull the heels towards the tail end. One more on your own timing. Rolling through, pressing up, and articulating back down. Once you're back down on the carriage, you can take your feet out of the straps, no rush if you're not there yet. And you're gonna come up to sitting, switch to a half spring. And you can either sit cross-legged on the carriage or you can kneel, your choice. So we're gonna do a little bit of side arm work. So holding on to the strap with the hand closer to the foot bar and external rotation. So probably a half spring will work for everyone. Rotating, yeah. And as you do this a couple times, trying to feel wide across the collarbone, this is again, the information that we need in order to move through other exercises with the arm and have the right muscles working. So as you open the arm, you're thinking of the back of the shoulder working. You should feel it working back there. You can either stay with this or take the arm down to the outside of the thigh and do a long arm abduction, pressing out and back down to the side a few times. When your arm comes across, it's not that it's not allowed to come across, I just don't want any rotation. So at some point your chest gets in the way and you can't go very far, and that's okay. Going towards the midline, I mean, you probably won't even meet the midline of the body. Good. That looks great, Anne. And Carrie, your straps look longer than ours are, and that's okay. But if you want to hold the shorter one, it'll make it a little harder. Yeah. One last time. And then take the strap in the back hand or the hand closer to the pulleys. Open your arms up like you're holding a globe above you. And then arms are going to stay in the same shape as they go overhead. No side bending, no leaning. Of course, you can switch springs if you need to switch to the quarter at this point. Try to keep the elbow the same shape. It's really tempting to kind of bend that arm more and straighten it to come up. Make your elbows kind of like doll elbows where they don't really change. And you're trying to not lean away from it to pull it up. Keep connecting through the back of the legs, pushing down through your shins, lifting up through your head one more time. And then scoot in a little closer to the shoulder rest, grab the strap, lean over into the shoulder rest, and your tricep press overhead. So looking down at the shoulder rest, you're in a big side bend. We've been working on this lately, trying to find that position where your shoulder is seated well in the joint and you're just changing the elbow. Nice. Should feel like your obliques are working as well. One more time. And then be mindful of how you get out of this. So you lower your arm with control. Sit down, sit cross-legged. If you need a platform to sit on, you can. But bring your arms across your body, keeping the arms relatively straight for the moment. If you're on that quarter spring, you might need to switch back to a heavier spring. Go across the horizon, rotating back. And then keeping the same shape in mind, you can stay doing this, which you guys have done a bunch, so you know this exercise well, or you can try to keep one arm doing it. So the arm is still bent, you're still rotating the torso. Nothing has changed except for you've gotten rid of one arm. Rotate, your fist kind of stays in line with the center of your chest. Looking towards the back of the reformer, looking towards the front of the reformer, back and forth, rotating through the torso. 2 more. Nice. And last one. And then put that strap back down and switch to one red spring, I think will work for everyone. Shins against the shoulder rests, hand on the foot bar, bottom hand on the foot bar, other hand on the carriage. So you can't fall over. You're gonna lean out, and then as you come up, feel like you're going up and over the legs. So you're trying to go into big curve as you come up. Let the foot bar push you into that curve and lengthen out through the spine and the torso, and then feel like you go up and over. Yeah. Should feel like the foot bar is helping you to do this. Nice. Leaning out, lift up and over, and leaning out, up and over. One more time. And then turn around to face the other direction. You can start kneeling. And we'll do all of our side arm work. So half spring, quarter spring, whatever you did on the other side. Starting with the outside hand, the one closer to the foot bar, doing your external rotation. So your elbow is hovering by your side. You're just rotating your arm like there's, I don't know, a newspaper under your arm you're holding. Connecting the glutes, feeling like you're lifting yourself up nice and tall the whole time. And then if you want to add to that, take your arm down, press from low out towards shoulder height. You're welcome to go above shoulder height, but usually that's a good goal. And pressing out, feeling the shoulder blade rotating on the back. Nice. Two more. And last one, pressing out and lowering your arm back down. Scooch a little bit towards the foot bar. Take the strap in your back hand, the one closer to the pulleys. Hug the moon, opening the arms out to the side, lifting the arms up overhead. As you do that a few times, trying to feel like you're keeping the torso the same length on both sides, trying to not change the elbow. Opening. And think of your hands coming slightly in front of your forehead versus them being literally directly over the top of your head. Good. Last two. And last one. And then scoot a little towards the shoulder rest. Bottom hand is holding the shoulder rest. You're in a side bend. Top arm lifts up. Palm is facing towards the ceiling with the bent elbow. And then you're pressing up into the ceiling. Pressing up, bending in, pressing up. Trying to feel like that shoulder is well seated in the joint. You might need to bring your elbow a little further forward to make that happen. 3 more. Last one here. And then bring the arm down in front of you and sit all the way back down. You'll probably need to switch to a half spring if you are on a quarter spring, sitting cross legs. Starting with both hands holding the straps and rotating through your torso, side twists. And then if you removed one hand on the other side, remove the hand here so that it's just the hand closer to the foot bar that's holding the strap, trying to emphasize that connection to the back of the arm. Feel the torso rotate, your fist stays in line with the front of the chest. Rotate and rotate. Using the abdominals to turn the ribs and stabilize the pelvis at the same time. Last 2. And last 1. And bring the strap back down. You can put the strap away, bring both shins against the shoulder rests, and switch to your red spring, one red spring. It's heavier. And bottom hand on the foot bar, top hand on the carriage in front of you. Lean out so you lengthen through both sides of the waist. And then as you come back in, feel like the foot bar is pushing you over your legs. And you lengthen through the waist and get taller as you lift up and over, push yourself over the legs. Should feel like you get some movement going through the ribs. Stretching yourself out from the bottom hip towards that top side of the ribs. One more time. And come all the way back in. Good, you can swing your legs down, put the foot bar down to the second from the bottom. So it's just a little bit up off of that wooden platform, and grab your box. One red spring should probably work for everybody. We're gonna start with using the straps in our hands. So plow, that sort of thing. If you know you need lighter, feel free to adjust. Laying on the box, just to make it less noisy, you could put your hands through the straps and then grab the ropes. Scooch forward so your chest is over the front of the box. Arms are down. We're gonna be in neutral today, so stay in neutral as you reach your arms back towards your hips and forward. So you're in one long line, trying to keep the legs connected and reaching. So the legs are reaching out long behind you. That looks beautiful. Yes. And then press your arms back towards your hips, bend and straighten your elbows forward. 3 tricep presses, elbows by the side, 2, and last 1. Repeat this again. So neutral spine, 4 times down and up towards the hips, and then 4 tricep presses. Staying neutral, wide across the collarbones. Bend and straighten the elbows, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We'll do one more set on your own timing. Trying to pull evenly through both arms. And then reach your arms back down, slide off to the side, and you're gonna sit up on the box. We're working towards teaser, and so we're gonna try a teaser where you can be facing and the ropes are helping you versus making it harder. So holding on to the straps, and you want to lay down, make sure if you lay back, your feet are on the headrest or somewhere on the carriage. They could be to the side of the shoulder rest, but I think you'll all fit on the headrest, and that your shoulder blades would be at the back edge and then come all the way back up. So it depends on your length, but you might end up putting your hand through the loop and then grabbing a hold like a ski pole. That might help. So we're gonna roll back, rounding through your lower back. Stay looking forward, scoop the abs, and come back up. Sit up nice and tall, and rounding back, and scooping. If you need to do a little bicep curl, you can to get up. The idea is that the straps would help you. If you're not back far enough, you're not gonna have the help of the straps as much as you could. Like Ginge, I would move back like 1 inch, just one little teeny inch towards the foot bar, I think is the way you went. I couldn't tell. Oh yeah, there we go. Now, as you roll back, the straps will be a little longer to help you. Good. If this is going well, you could round back, lift the legs up to tabletop, and come up from your teaser there. So you're rounding back. If it's not in the cards today, that's totally fine. I'm picking all of these options because I know each of you will need a different thing. So your legs don't drop as you come up. Pick a version that you can do well. Keep the legs up or roll back down. Keep the legs up and roll back down. Yeah, if you're tippy and it's a little scary, then I'd rather have you put your feet down and not risk it. That looks good. Ginge, keep your feet down today. Yeah. If you want to lift one leg, you could lift one leg. Then you still have that other one that kind of gives you a little assistance. Yeah, there we go. One more like this. And then you're going to sit back up. We're kind of inching our way into more of a teaser. So sit back up and turn around to face the other direction. So your feet are on the rails, you're facing the foot bar. The spring tension, if it's too light, it won't help you. If it's too heavy, it's gonna push you around too much. So you kind of have to find that sweet spot. You wanna scoot forward so that if you were to tip all the way over, there'd be a lot of box behind you like we just practiced. So then put your feet on the rails and just push your arms forward and test out your spring tension. Let your feet slide. Good. So then round your pelvis under, so you're in your teaser spine. Hold that position, reach the arms forward and back. So like Ginge, I think this is a good option for you because it's a little harder, but it's not unstable. It's not going to tip you over. Then reach the arms forward, stay there, round back a little bit more, scoop and come up a little bit. Round back, keep reaching into the hands. Don't let the hands drop or else the whole thing collapses. And round back the pelvis, 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 pelvis. Awesome, and rounding back and coming back up, and then return the carriage. If you know that's not working for you, you might try 3/4 spring and just see if lighter helps. But when you're doing that rounding back, if your arms start to drop, the whole thing tips backwards. So you've got to keep reaching forward like you're trying to hand somebody something. So 4 times of the arms going down and up, and 4 times where you're curling back further and coming up. And maybe others, you can try your full teaser. So you're laying back, legs can be extended or in tabletop, press through the arms, scoop and come all the way up in your teaser. If you want to extend the legs out over the bar, you could do that as well. Pick a teaser. I've given you lots of options that will work for you. Lifting and lowering. You've got 2 more moments here. 2 more reps, and one more moment. And then you can finish up, come off to the side, put the straps back, you're back on solid ground. And we're going to switch to, let's try a half spring. So half spring, stand on the side of the box. This part you'll have to follow directions. I know it's like kind of picky. Pick the strap that's closer to where you're standing. So and now stand inside the strap. So you're between the carriage and the strap is on the outside of you. And then grab the other strap. It should be light enough you can push the carriage out and put your hands on the front of the box and then slide on. If you're not on the inside, you'll just get a little tangled up. Lay all the way down on your stomach. Separate your legs, rotate your legs turned out. Take your arms into your breaststroke position where like kind of W shape and just press your arms forward and bend them back in. Reach out overhead and back in. And figure out where you need to be on the box so your chest is over the front of the box. Yeah, try not to let your hands come to your head. Your arms need to be wide and stay wide, kind of like the distance of the rails. If it's too heavy, you're looking at the springs, so you can adjust, finding that upward, downward rotation of the springs. Then we're gonna circle the arms around to the hips. You'll feel the ropes kind of go under your feet, that's okay. Press forward, circle the arms around. So it's like the opposite direction we normally do. Yeah. And Anne, I know you know other versions of this. You're welcome to do other versions that we're not doing today. Reaching forward, circle the arms around. Press overhead, circle out to the side and towards the hips. You can turn your thumbs up towards the ceiling as your hands come back towards your hips. 2 more. And last one. And then hold the arms down by the side of the carriage. You can adjust if you need to, anything. And then just do a couple little bicep curls down by your side. So your elbows are by your side, you're in one long line. Bend your elbows, straighten your elbows. It's pretty light, so try one arm at a time. You'll feel how you have to work harder to stabilize the torso against any side bending as you do that little bicep curl. If you want it to be harder, bring your legs closer together and towards parallel, and you'll feel more of the asymmetry of the torso kind of wanting to fishtail off to one side. Bend in, return the carriage, bend in. I'm just trying to smooth it out from one side to the other. Just finish up even on both sides. Bring the carriage back in. Put your hands on the corner of the box. Put your hands on the corners of the box. Like put them down. Yeah, now slide off the top of the rope. The tops of the ropes. Yeah, and then control the carriage back in. You made it. And then we're gonna come to kneeling on the box for our side leg or single leg press here with the feet in the strap. So hands on the corners of the box, scooch your body over towards one side, put your foot on the step at the side, and then grab the strap, put either your arch of your foot or your ankle in the strap and press the leg out behind you and slide it down back towards the floor. Usually as the carriage comes in, if the leg goes too far forward, it kind of tucks you under and shifts you. Try to stay neutral. Lengthening through the spine. Good. Press your leg out behind you, hold it there, bend your knee in towards the box, press it back out. Bend it in, press out. If it really bothers you that the rope kind of touches your hand, bring your leg more to the side of the box. Nice. 3 more. Hopefully you feel some work in the standing hip. Not a lot of weight in the arms. Most of the weight's in the pelvis. Last one. Bring your leg back down to that ledge at the side of your reformer, and then carefully with one hand, take the strap off. Slide over to the second side. Put your foot on the ledge. One hand comes off to put your strap on your foot. Press your leg out behind you. Lower and lengthen back. Trying to get your pelvis as level as you can. Straighten your knee, straight knee, straight knee. Most of the time we collapse as the carriage is coming back in and the leg is going towards the floor, meaning we turn everything off and the carriage just pulls us way in, further than maybe we have the flexibility. So try to control that pull of the spring back into the shorter position. That's better. See if you can relax a little through your upper body so it's not kind of white knuckling it. One more. Hold the leg up behind you. Bend and straighten the knee. Bend in, flex at the hip and the knee, press out. Yeah, that looks good. One more. Bring the carriage back in. Put your foot on that ledge at the side. Slide the strap off with one hand. Bring your knees further forward and either stand at the side of the carriage and do some sort of stretch or shell stretch on top of the box. Make sure you've crawled forward a little so you can't tip back. And then come off the side of the reformer and you can put your box away. And let's bring the foot bar back up. Let's just add a red spring so you have 1.5 springs. I just don't want the carriage moving around a lot. And then if you have your straps on the shoulder rest, put them either on the hooks or on the floor so that they're out of your way. So come to laying on your back, headrest down. So coming back to this idea of this little curl, bring your hands to the shoulder rest. If you're on a stott reformer, if you were to pull straight up, the shoulder rests will come out and then you'll trap your hair and it will be a mess. So don't pull up, push against or pull against the shoulder rest. Connect your abdominals and lift one leg up to tabletop and then the other. You can separate your knees a little bit like we did before. Do a little curl and see if now that you're warmer, you can make it a little bigger. If you want to add to this, we're going to work on an inversion rollover. So you're going to reach your legs out on the diagonal over the foot bar, hinge at your hips and roll over towards horizontal with the floor. Then you're going to roll back down, reaching through the legs. I like having the foot bar up because it stops you from going too low. Reach the legs out towards the foot bar. Roll over. Stay there. You can take a breath. And then try to soften through the sternum to roll back down. Let me see where you're at. And so this is part of your short spine. Short spine had the straps on your feet, and so it was helping you. Here, you don't have that help. That looks great. Yeah, Carrie, lower your legs just a little bit so they're more parallel to the floor. Yeah, perfect. Good, Ginge. Good, Anne. Very nice, Anita. So Anita and Carrie, since you're doing the full version of that inversion rollover, you can take this into a corkscrew. So you roll over to the center and then you slightly lead your feet off one side. You go down, center off, and come up the other side. You're still trying to roll up and down more the center of the spine. You're just slightly favoring one side of the spine. When you've had enough, you roll down to the center. Let me see that. Yeah, exactly. Awesome, Anne. Good, 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 good. Finish up this last one here. If you're taking a break, hug your legs into your chest. Just give them a little squeeze while we all catch up with each other. Little rock from side to side, maybe. Awesome. And then we're going to come to sitting. One red spring usually is good for everybody. If you need a little lighter for your arms generally, then go to 3/4. Grab the straps off the floor. We've been working on seated front rowing exercises because we're building towards being able to do this kneeling. But because of the fact that you could tip forward into the springs, we're slowly progressing towards that. Since I can't catch you, reach your arms forward and back. You can have your knees bent. Like, Anne, if you're more comfortable kneeling, you're welcome to do that because I know you're safe with it. And Ginge, if you need to sit on something, feel free to add that as well. Oh, I see it now. Black on black blends in. So then you're gonna press your arms forward, lift the arms up overhead and bend and press tricep presses. We've been doing this a little bit hinged forward. You can stay hinged forward, or you can try to bring the shape up to vertical. It's obviously more difficult vertical because you've got the resistance coming from behind you and you need to keep from tipping forward or back. Ginge, I think you'd probably be better off vertical because leaning forward is actually more hip flexibility that you'd have to have, I believe. Yeah, that looks good to me. And if it's too heavy, you're welcome to lighten it up, anyone. Yeah. Last 4. And then reach your arms all the way to straight overhead and then sweep them back down to get out of this. So then the big teardrop shape, the point of the teardrop is in towards your hips. You're reaching your arms forward, out and around, forward, out and around, exactly. Try not to lean forward, so sit vertically. Yeah, that's better, Anita. And then reverse the direction of your teardrops. Usually going in towards the midline first is a little harder to keep the connection of the back of the shoulders. Looks great, everyone. If you're sitting cross-legged, I shouldn't really see your knees kind of bounce up and down. It makes me think you're using your hip flexors to stabilize instead of your torso stability. Last one. And then bend your elbows into your sides. You don't have to bring the carriage all the way in. Like, my arms would be in a really weird position if the carriage came all the way in. So find a comfortable position. So then you're gonna round your spine forward, and you can do offering kneeling if you want instead. We're gonna do with the round back. So you're gonna round your spine so you're kind of looking down at your ankles. Try not to hinge forward, Carrie, but keep over your pelvis. Yeah, there you go. Reach your arms forward and turn your palms to face down. Stack up from tail to head, kind of plugging the shoulders in. Lift your arms up overhead, circle all the way around so your pinky side of your hand reaches towards the carriage, and then flex your elbows and your spine at the same time. So as you reach the arms forward, the palms face down, you stack up, plugging in the shoulders, lift the arms up, you're really vertical. And so the weight usually is dependent on this ability to stay vertical, flex over the legs. Reach the arms forward, turn the palms down. Plug your shoulders in like your hands are on a table. Your hands are on a table as you stack up. So your hands are still in front of you as you stack up. Then your arms go up overhead. You're trying to not lean forward. As you bend your elbows, you flex your spine. As you reach forward, the palms face down. Keep the hands where they are. Plug your shoulders in. Many of you are missing that moment. And circle the arms around and flex back in. It is continuous, but I still want that to be a signpost of something that happens there. So your arms reach forward, the palms face down. You stack up the hands, stay where they are. You plug in the shoulders. Reach the arms up overhead, circle the arms around, and bend the elbows back in. Reach the arms forward, palms face down. Stack up tail to head. Hands are like on a table. Yeah, and then lift the arms up overhead, circle around, and flex the spine. Twice more. On your own timing, connecting one motion into the next, but still hitting those or passing through those moments I mentioned. Reaching forward, plug the shoulders in, lift the arms up, circle around. Let's do one more. Circling around and coming back in. Awesome. So then we're gonna put the straps back, and we're gonna come up off of the reformer. Let's switch to just a half spring. Standing at the side of the reformer, holding onto the strap closer to the side you're standing on. Back up so that your arm is fully straightened. Sit down into a squat as you bend the elbows, stand back up. Should be a resistance that you feel like when you stand up, you're not kind of tipping forward. Just do a few of these, bend and straighten, bend and straighten. And if you'd like to add the other arm, as you pull one way, rotate one way, as you bend the other way, rotate the other way. So you're adding rotation, rotate and rotate and rotate and rotate, still squatting. However you can coordinate that. If you're too far forward, you'll just run out of room and it'll feel impossible. Good. 4 more. And last one. And then setting that strap back down, walk around to the other side. Grab the strap that's closer to you, back up so your arm can be straight. Sit down into a squat, connect and lift up. Finding that row, trying to connect between the shoulder blades behind you. Awesome. And then if you added the other arm, you'd be rotating in opposition. Whichever elbow is back, that's the one you're going to look over. If you're crashing into the stopper, then back up just to the hair. Last 4, 3, 2, and last one. Come all the way back in. Put the strap back on the shoulder rest and keep your spring tension. Sit on the carriage. Come onto your forearm and top foot in the strap. Press your leg out. Deep crease in the front of the hip to take the leg forward, then go up and around. Don't hit yourself in the face. So it's a circle. We've been building towards this bigger range of motion. If it's too much, just go forward and back towards the foot bar. Long lever, hard to control. That looks awesome, everyone. Yeah. Your leg won't stay parallel. It's got to turn out a little bit. Reverse the direction before you get too tired. Trying to keep from resting against the shoulder rest. I think Ginge and Anita, both of you scoot down because you're pitching yourself over your arm. Push yourself down. There's a lot of room down there and it'll help you to hold yourself up. Yeah, that looks better. Last one. And then you can bend your leg in, take the foot out of the strap and roll over to the other side. put your forearm down, top leg in the strap. Hopefully you won't be too tired to do the second side. That's why I didn't want to do too many reps, because usually the second side is where you notice you run out of steam. Circling the leg around, keeping the torso as still as possible. And reverse the direction after this one. About 4 more. And last one. And then you can bend your leg, take your foot out of the strap, and sit back up. Come up to one red spring, kneeling, facing the back of the reformer. Be mindful as you kneel up here that you're not gonna fall over. If you did have an emergency, sit back towards your heels and you'd save yourself. So holding onto the straps, you're holding up as high as you can reach without leaning forward to do it. Press the arms back, hold your arms back by your hips, and then stay, turn and look one way, turn and look the other way, back to the front and reach forward. So we're trying to, this is chest expansion. So we're trying to open up across the front of the shoulders and the chest. So I could bring my arm back all day if I let myself roll the shoulder forward. Try to only go back as far as you can, stay wide across the collarbone. You're just turning and looking one way then the other to challenge your balance. Press back, turn and look one way, turn and look the other. Pressing back, turn and look one way, the other, and back one more time on your own timing. And then you're gonna press your arms back behind you, nice and controlled, little pulses back and back and back, wide across the collarbone. So it's not literally about how far back your arms go, it's more about you connecting to the back of the shoulders. And 4, 3, 2, and 1, return the carriage. Good. And from here, sit back. You're gonna switch to 2.5 if you're a more petite person. I'm gonna use 3 red springs. We're gonna do knee stretches, and if you wanna do something else, I don't know how that will work for you, you decide. So you're gonna be kneeling. This is a ton more resistance than you just had a second ago. So the likelihood of you potentially losing your balance is higher. So try to sit back if you have an emergency. Hold on to the ropes again and just find vertical. Hinge at your knees, and from your knees, lean the whole shape back a little bit and then bring that whole shape back up. Yeah, exactly. And take that whole shape back. Awesome, Anne. Maybe think of a little more imprint to try to connect and open across the front of your hips a little bit more. And as you're kind of refining how far back you can go, you're controlling the return each time you come back up. You're gonna feel the fronts of your legs because they have to work a lot to keep you from tipping over. Hinging back. Awesome, Anita. And back up. If you can, don't surprise yourself. You're going to hinge back and do a little bit of a bend of the elbows to come back up to vertical. It's small, it's heavy spring tension. So you might not even notice much of a difference, but you hinge back with straight arms and then you do a little lift of the arms to come back up to vertical. Control the return. Little teeny tiny lift of the arms to come back up to vertical. Yeah, nice. One more time. Hinge back, little lift, control your return. Good, and then you can sit back down, and on your own, you're going to do your single thigh stretch to finish, but good job, you're all done. Awesome work.